Okay, thank you. We'll call our regular session of the Newburg R2 Board of Education August meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll get you real name.
I told her already, he doesn't do it like an elementary school. He does it like a high school.
Just like the FFA does.
There you go.
That's how I did it. That's how I was trained anyway. We do have a quorum. Mr. Birdsong, not here. Need a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson.
Second.
Second, Mr. Brookshire. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. We have no one that has signed up for the comment. We'll move on to our consent agenda. And our consent agenda will be our minutes from the July meeting and the August special board meeting, so there's 2 sets there, and our monthly financial statement. Need a motion to approve when you're ready.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson. Second.
The consent agenda. Oh, yeah, okay.
Second. Mrs. Wells. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
I was just saying, while I wasn't here for the special.
Okay. Motion carries 5. 1 abstention. Mr. Brookshire.
Yeah.
Approval of the bills. You had a chance to look at the bills. Any questions on the bills? Life this month. Ooh. I don't think I've ever seen anything like life. Almost called you to make sure it's right.
I don't have any bills left, so if they're wrong, I didn't get them.
Okay.
Mr. Kingsley, on this Marco Tech,
Oh, that's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
on top here, so is that our monthly rent from them?
One of those is monthly rent, the other one is some other equipment. You pulled that today, didn't you?
I did.
You have it handy?
Which dollar amount are you talking about, Tony?
The 2268.
That is actually overage.
Overage and meter usage is what we had written down. Now, when we put this new lease contract in place, instead of a monthly overage, it's a yearly overage. So that way, the July months, where we don't have as many copies and things like that, should help balance out the heavy months, and maybe we'll hold those overages. So, we knew it was coming as a way too high.
And also the new contract increased those, I thought they increased them a little bit too. The copies we could
I think
make.
there's still 5. Oh, the number, yes, I believe so. Number of copies before it becomes an overage.
So
I
this,
think you're right.
so this is for the overage from the 2023-24 school year.
Yes. Well, is it the whole year?
Yes,
Is it the year? Okay.
could be. And that's how it had
Say
broke
it should
down
be
for-
for that now.
We just changed it to the monthly rate, so that we wouldn't.
This Centos Fire, the
Mhm.
387759,
Yeah.
does the school have a contract with Centos? Is that just who you've always used, or?
Fire inspection, and they did tons and tons of work while they were here. As far as historically,
Okay.
is that who we've always used? I would assume it is, but
They paid him for a long time.
okay.
I don't know what that means. Long time could mean
That's-
4 years,
that's
could be
the
20.
only company that
Yeah.
They
Ever seen
knows
that?
all that.
Our insurance
there's a-
our insurance kind of dictates who we have to use there, but they
Well-
do give us a list. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
they
I think,
dictate.
I know the insurance requires it to be done, and that's how it needs to be, I just wanna make sure, you know, $4,000 is a pretty steep
You're
number.
not
It's a lot of
kidding.
money.
There's
Yes,
a
it
company
is.
out of Franklin County that does those too,
Yeah,
because we started using them at the water district before I left. We went with some
Maybe
city
You
halls.
have that bill, because I
We need to
need the
revisit.
number of
you
things
know,
that
there's
they
a place,
covered.
of course, my out of Jeff City, there's Franklin County Fire,
Yeah.
so there's, I just wanna make sure
There's a
we're,
couple other
Yeah.
places that.
Right,
That bill normally isn't that high, Tony, so
Because,
it's not,
you
anyone
know,
have that.
I know from my previous experience, I kinda used the name brand guys a few years, and I was like, whoa, I get these bills, and,
Yeah.
you know, I'd call around and be like,
And a
well,
lot of times, I think every third year, they take your fire extinguishers.
yeah, and they recharge
Charge
them,
them or bring
trade
them
them
in,
out,
trade 'em out.
whatever.
So that might have been why it's high this time.
Yeah, I
It's
just,
higher than normal.
Yeah. It might have hit its time frame where they had
Twice
changed
as
them out.
high as what it has been.
okay, well, maybe we can look at that at some point.
I think it was like 1,500 last year when we did that.
I mean, there's a big difference from 1,500 to 38.
Big.
Mhm, yes.
What was the agent fee to, is you and me back?
Service charge was 130. Clean agent recovery, 244.55. Is that what
You're
you're,
talking two different things.
oh, are we? Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you. He's
Oh.
talking bank.
I just.
Oh, I'm
realized that-
sorry, you went to, okay.
I was trying to find it here, there was just,
That
it
was
was
a bank.
an.
Oh,
just
bank
an
charge.
agent fee,
Okay.
UMB.
sorry.
yeah,
I,
I haven't found it, but,
I can look it up though and see how long we've been paying it, cause I had to look it up for the code number.
yeah, here it is.
Yeah,
UMB
318.
Bank, 318 agency, I just don't remember ever seeing that.
Now you say that, don't need. Let's check on that.
Hmm, okay, yeah, we
Bank,
can.
We've been paying them an agent fee since we've had SUI at least. And it looks like it is a yearly fee. Or maybe not, because they paid it. Looks like it might be a quarterly fee.
Let's check on that.
Kinda like to know what it's for.
Let's
Mhm.
get SUI to kind of give us a response on that.
Okay.
This Alert 360 monitoring fee,
Fire.
that's fire. So, Newburg, we also have Central Security, can that not all be combined into one? Just out of curiosity, normally one company can take care of all of those monitoring needs, so just an observation.
Be good to streamline if you can.
Mhm.
Just be one less vendor to
One less vendor.
Mhm.
potentially. And the MSBA for the 1,079.08, I have no idea what that is, so
It's
I'm
our
just,
school board association.
okay.
We can go ahead and pay our fees to that.
Okay.
We don't use their policies, but we do stay
Well, yeah, I got,
associated with them.
absolutely. Okay.
We use Mayor, Tony, for most of the stuff that we do.
Okay.
For our policies, for sure, we use Mayor, but, MSBA is just another connection, sometimes it's good to have.
Help me on the, and I'm,
Yep.
just so I understand, the pathways to reading, what does that entail for us,
It's our phonics program at Lower Elementary.
for the local, for the elementary?
So we have a new teacher in kindergarten, they'll go through that training this year, and then we're adding our third grade, because really phonics should be a K-3.
Okay,
So that's our third grade teacher in the kindergarten.
awesome. I'm gonna assume this Delaney Layden Financial has something to do with the monies that are put in and they're managing for us, is that, am I assuming that right? So I guess I'm asking, so I'm not assuming. This is capital projects funding,
It'd be your bond people.
okay.
we actually should be done with that. That should be the last thing. we
The
have to do.
lounge, the lodge lawn is actually our old copier lease.
Copiers.
I didn't think we changed copier people.
We did, we did.
Yeah. Well, you're saying that doesn't make any sense, we're just paying
Oh,
these other guys overages, and so,
You're right, that-
I think it's on different machines, cause this one is on Lexmark's Canoka.
Was it a service? Because those Lexmarks were not working well, that's what makes me think. And those are now being taken out of the fleet.
anything land and financial.
We must have had some old printers, not copiers, printers in classrooms or in offices that we kept, because it was easier to keep it with them than it was to do it with the other company. I'm guessing you, but that's what makes sense to me.
Lease payments. Their lease payments, this is what leasedirect.com is their
Yeah, I need to sit those printers even
website.
here.
Right.
Also,
That's
Tony,
Marco.
I can tell you that a lot of
It was
times
due in
you
July.
like, you'll have a copier through
So,
somebody, but the
we paid a
billing
lease
goes through
payment,
somebody
and
else.
Marco did it a
Like,
certain percentage.
we had
I
copiers.
understand that, but we're paying Marco, so I get that, I'm not sure why, make sure we're not paying two people the same, for the same thing.
I know, we've always paid
Yeah.
Marco a long time.
I mean,
Pay for copies we never made.
paying for copies we never made, or paying for printers we're not using, or that aren't here
Printers
anymore.
that aren't even here, could be.
She said, she believes that to be the last payment for July, because now we're all on the new, no more
We're all on
Lexmark.
Marco.
We're all on Marco, but we'll check on that and make sure.
Well, it was just under the
last-
capital projects fund, so that's what made me
Right.
confused on what it possibly was
Right.
for. I don't know that
Be a
printers
printer
would be in a capital project fund,
They
but
probably
maybe.
both, they probably combined it all together.
I'm good on everything else.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion to approve?
Motion.
Mr. Brookshire.
Second.
Second, Mr. Shear. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Moving into our reports.
That's the way I was understanding, it should all be on, everything should be on Marco for this.
Should be moving forward now, yes.
We'll start with our principals, but elementary.
Okay, yeah, I can go first.
Okay. And next month I'll need to reverse that, so help me remember.
Okay. At the elementary, classrooms look amazing, so, teachers did a great job there. We're saying the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, along with the school pledge every morning. The school pledge has the three, B's in there: be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. We are going to recognize student birthdays once a week, the students that have those birthdays that week. I have talked with the lunch people, and we're gonna get together and have like a little a treat for the student birthdays for that week. So hopefully next week we can get that going. We will include summer months. I was asked that. Will that include summer birthdays? Yeah, we'll get the summer birthdays in there too. And then I also do a joke of the day. The kids love that. So teacher workroom, we have a new copier in there. Our mailboxes are in there. We're gonna kind of decor it up a little bit, have some coffee, snacks, kind of make it a cozy place for teachers to work. We've also been working together to put some building-wide expectations together. We kind of did a little beginning of the school year boot camp type thing where we went over universal expectations in the cafeteria, playground, hallway, restrooms. So that way students will know what the expectations are all over the whole building. Professional development, that's Pathways to Reading. We've got that going for our K and third grade teachers. That does satisfy the Senate Bill 681 for the phonics and the reading success plans and everything that the state is requiring of us. We should be covered on that. Continuing the BTEP for first and second year teachers. Letters will continue, and then the NEE teacher evaluations, I'm gonna start those soon, September, where I'll go in, my indicators are gonna be 4.1 and 5.3B. So relationships is one of them, student relationships, and the critical thinking is the 4.1. Teachers know this, went over them with them, we even watched some scenarios, and they even got to score. We kind of did a group score before we showed what the actual master score showed, and that was kind of fun. So I think it relieved a lot of their anxieties that they had over, just so that way they understand what we're going to be doing. So we did that on one of our back to school PD days. Student enrollment, at the moment, this is kind of changing daily here, but at the moment today, I rechecked it for pre-K through 6, we are at 166 right now. And then my Frisco League elementary principal meetings this year will be the second Tuesday of each month. So I do look forward to getting to know the principals in our league and collaborating from there. So that's pretty much all I got.
Questions? Thank you. I hope it's gone well.
Yeah,
Good.
it's been very busy,
Yes,
but
always is.
it's going pretty good, yeah.
You didn't get phone calls the first day, so it must have been okay. That's good.
That's always a good sign.
It was a good sign. You done?
The enrollment, these numbers were last week, and possible it drops a little bit as we try to figure out why some students aren't here that may have moved. We just haven't heard yet. The number we got in there total 7 through 12 is 172, but we're going through those kids that haven't showed up yet, so we got to figure out where they're at right now. You'll hear some of the same things between the elementary and the high school. We're also doing the pledge every morning, kind of introducing a dad joke. The kids are going to roll their eyes, but they miss it when you don't give it.
They
But,
caught you in the hallway today.
Yeah, we had that one catch in the hallway. I didn't hear the dad joke. I'm like, sometimes I kind of sneak them in, but they're like, he didn't catch it.
You had to tell it again in the hallway.
Yeah, you got really hand it to short people. 'Cause they can't reach it anyways. Yeah. I don't know, is that how it goes? I may have messed it up. Anyway.
No, I think you got it.
You kind of get the point. But anyway, sometimes you kind of sneak them in to kind of a little like backstory, like I'll tell a story about my family. I'm really leading into the story, into the joke, and it takes a while to kind of get it. But anyway, I put a few things in my board report on athletics, but I don't want to, take away from Coach Simley, and he'll talk about some of that stuff a little bit about practices starting and that sort of thing. But recently, before school started, we had a couple of students go to the state fair and do pretty well. I think we may have shared an FFA post on Facebook about that, but I think at the time I wrote this, I was waiting more details, and I didn't update it after that. But I think it's just really neat to see our kids succeeding, at high levels, even in their activities in the summer too. Our teachers also, we came in here during professional development, the NEE evaluation system. The two indicators we're choosing, the same as 5.3B, the student-teacher relationships, which is so critical to learning, but also classroom management. We also are doing one on cognitive engagement, which is different than behavioral engagement, just behaving in class and following the rules. It's, am I actively thinking about the learning, thinking about the content? There's some look-fors there. And so we did the same thing. We saw some sample videos of teachers teaching and used the same rubric that we use for teachers to score those teachers that are on the video. And I think it's Ms. Wright, will attest to. I think it's really good for our teachers to go through that and experience that from that end. Like, we're not out to get you. We've got these look-fors. This is what we're looking for. We're not out to get you, but the power in these observations is in the conversation that follows. It's not on the score, hey, I came in, I gave you the score. It's the conversation that follows, the reflection, the thinking about other strategies we may be able to use to, improve the instruction in the classroom. And so, one of the things with that is that conversation ideally happens within 24 hours of the observation. And so when I go into a room today, I've got to know that I've got time by tomorrow to have that conversation. So, but The cognitive engagement and the relationships, both of them are critical to classroom management too, and the learning. I mean, they're both two important pieces. Coming back to school, we had the new teacher orientation, the new teacher workshop too, the onboarding. So in the morning, it was a lot of the district-wide stuff that Ms. Jeannie led a lot of that too, and our tech people, just trying to get them acclimated to the district. In the afternoons, they were able to break up by buildings, and Ms. Wright and I were able to meet with ours and go over some things, kind of get them started and answer questions and kind of help maybe ease some anxieties. One of the things I'm really thankful for right before school started, you guys came out of that last board meeting, was those physicals. Somebody made contact with Angie Watkins, and she was phenomenal. She rounded up a group of ladies to come and help with that, and she's willing to come. She said, hey, I'll come back in. If we need to do this before basketball season, I'll come back. And we might, I don't know. But she wants kids to be able to play, not have to worry about finding time to go get a physical. And it's just great that she's willing to do that. Registration was busy. Had a lot of people show up to registration. I could tell you that there were some long lines waiting for schedules and that sort of thing. I think in the transition between a new principal and a new counselor, and just that transition in general, maybe created some longer lines than what we'd prefer. But I can tell you, Ms. Masterby and I have already talked, and there's going to be a better plan and more organization, next year for that. We're going to be more prepared, going into those things. Have things done earlier than we were able to have them done, this year. So, but a lot of people showed up. And that was a really good thing. For Meet the Teacher Night too, but Meet the Teacher Night and the registration. We want to thank Mr. Brookshire for providing our students with cell phone cases. And so,
I just scratched out about $2,500 cover.
yeah, it will.
Yeah.
No, it's.
I'm sure the kids thank you too.
Oh, yeah.
Here, I can write you an invoice right quick
My
over
son
here.
was tickled.
I'm sure you was.
Back to school
Your
is.
son had to come get one yesterday, because I never got one.
Yeah, our back to school time, we had a lot of meetings, but also time just to get to know staff too. The first day of school, we met with kids in small groups. So I met with 7th and 8th grade first hour, 9th and 10th grade second hour. We waited for the juniors and seniors to get back from tech school. We met with them after lunch to meet with them in small group to go over some of the changes and expectations and that sort of thing. And I mean, you guys know there's some changes here. By and large, and I complimented the students today over our morning announcements, they may not necessarily like all the changes, but for the most part, they have welcomed them with positive attitudes. By and large, there's been positive attitudes. I'm not going to say it's 100%. I mean, I don't think we expected 100%. But by and large, they have, and we appreciate that. We're going to have to start cracking down on a few things, but kind of got their warnings and the transition out of the way. But by and large, it's been good. Feedback from the teachers has been good. And Mr. Dunn is so nice not to worry about phones in the classroom. Mr. Dunn is so nice not to worry about earbuds. Mr. Dunn, and so it's been well received so far, by and large. You guys may be hearing some different things, but that's the feedback I'm getting.
Good.
So,
I haven't yet, but I haven't been home to talk to my kids.
Anything else? Any questions, Mr. Dunn? No, appreciate all the work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, first few days or whatever, but
We'll look forward to next
Get your
month's
routine
report, after you've had a month for the stew to kind of cook in a crock pot and see.
we'll see about the positive attitudes.
I might have a discipline report next month, I don't know, but I don't have any discipline this month, that's good. Hopefully not,
Yeah.
hopefully not.
Wonderful. Thank you for your work with the handbook and
Yeah.
being on your time, getting everything together you could get together. So we do appreciate that. I know as a board we do.
If you're wondering who the lady in the middle is over here, that's Jamie Bush, that's our special education director. So I don't want you not to know who she is, I don't want to leave her out. So, welcome Jamie, and thanks for being here. And any questions for her, and please welcome to see her. Most of you don't know her, so. Anyway, thanks for coming. Hope to see you soon. Okay. Mr. Simile, we've never met you before, but there you are.
Live in person.
I'm hoping that's who I
Heard a
was.
lot about you.
007.
007.
Oh, yeah, that's what they called you for a long time.
I'm a handshaker, so
Yeah.
Absolutely.
this is just a pretty simple, I've been here about 2 weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks. Just
Don't leave.
go over some, thank you. Shouldn't say long, just a lot of hours.
Right.
First,
Is that?
I don't know if I need to give a little background. I grew up in a small town, southeast Missouri. I was a athletic director for about 20 years, and I was the head baseball coach for about 25 at my hometown, my home school. Kind of turned it over to my brother. Now he's the athletic director and the baseball coach, and my son is his assistant. So I went to Stillville, and we opened up an alternative school. So I ran it for the last couple years. Really good experience, something everybody needs to do in their career, because you get to know some different kids that I didn't get to know as an athletic director and a coach. It was a great experience for me, and it's going to help me here. A lot of the same kind of kids I'm seeing down in the Learning Center, and I'll talk about it last, but I retired July 1st, and
Unsuccessfully.
August 1st, me and Doug talked, and Tracy, and I'm excited to be here. If it wasn't for this team of admin, I would have never done it, I'll just be honest. I knew they had a good team of administrators, and that's very important. I got the privilege to work with Doug for a year at Stillville. We had a really good relationship. I admin most of his basketball games. I wasn't the AD, but I still admin most of the athletic games. So I got to know him, and when he called me, I was excited. My wife is still teaching and coaching at Stillville, so what am I gonna do with my free time? Well, here I am.
Come back to work.
That's right, that's right, that's what she said too.
Can we keep her working for another 10 years maybe?
You gotta talk to her about that.
Hey, I can work on her, I'm telling you.
Any questions before we,
Oh, good.
okay, my first concern, obviously, I think you guys know high school baseball and high school softball. I was afraid we wasn't gonna have enough to have a team. So we worked on it. I mean, we word of mouth, and we tried to give some kids of ideas to how to get others. And both teams right now are practicing every day with 11 kids. So we've made the schedules. Unfortunately, our softball team will not play in the conference tournament
So,
because we didn't have enough.
I saw what they weren't on there, I saw that.
Yeah. We didn't have enough until the first day of school.
I understand.
That's the only bad thing about fall sports. You start practice a week before school starts. And it's hard to reach out to kids and get them here. So not being in the tournament is not exciting, but having a team the rest of the year is very exciting.
Our team is
Right. So baseball and softball both are looking good. Middle school basketball has also started practice. I actually walked in boys practice today, and they had 12 boys. They had been running 7 to 10, but today they had 12. So that's awesome. Girls have been 7 to 10 most days. So we're in pretty good shape there. Our plan is to play full A games for both teams, and then play 2 quarters B games for both teams, and that way all the kids are getting experience. Any questions with fall? All right, how are we gonna improve this?
John, how many sixth graders do we have?
I do not know that. I can find out and let you know.
Just curious, it's not important, I just.
Our numbers for 6th graders are better than 7th and 8th, I can tell you that.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
We have several boys and girls, sixth grade playing.
yes, yes, and I can get you exact numbers.
No.
I've watched them, of course. That don't mean I know what grade they're in, so, but I have talked to the coaches, and I've watched them do stuff, and, I know our coaches are excited, our girls especially were kind of worried about numbers as well. So, we had our first coaches meeting, and I challenged our coaches, I'll be honest. I'm an old school, do things right and work harder than everybody else kind of guy. So my first assignment to our coaches, you're gonna develop me a plan for our elementary kids. I want either camps, clinics, or intramurals with whatever sport you're coaching. The only way we're gonna improve numbers is getting our elementary kids involved. So when they're out of season, I expect them to do things with our elementary kids, and they know that. I mean, that's our only opportunity to get kids involved and make them interested at a younger age, get to know their friends, and then they'll stick with it a lot more times than not. I know previous places I've been, youth has been, our numbers was huge. You know, like I said, I was the baseball coach for 25 years. Our youth numbers were huge, huge. And as a high school coach, I picked all of our coaches and we had our own program and it was really awesome. And that's why we can compete throughout the state at any class. So, you know, but it will take some time. You know, our coaches know that, I know that, our admin team knows that. But we don't have a lot of time because our numbers are pretty critical.
You gotta start, Sue.
Yep.
Start.
Yep.
Here we go.
You know, I was kind of, our coaches, you know, I know they put in a lot of time, they have families.
Sure.
But this is something that's very important. You know, without having numbers, they don't have to coach. You know, they won't, you know, and that's where we're at. I think most of our coaches are here not to teach, they're here to coach. That's why they came here. That's not why they're here, don't get me wrong. But that's part of the reason they came here was because they wanted to be coaches. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Any questions about? And my door's always open. Please, if you have suggestions for me, like I said, I've been doing it a long time. I was only in Stillville 3 years, and I've had 3 board members call me this week. You know, I know making relationships is very important. So, you know, please reach out to me, and if you had suggestions or give me ideas of how things can be better, please feel free to call me anytime.
Well, and I'll say for us that have been here for a while, one thing Mr. Simile is kind of behind the wall on is he doesn't have really any coaches in his stable, so to speak, that have been here to know how we did do things. And that doesn't mean he's always gonna do it, but you gotta have a starting point. So, especially for you guys that graduated from here, not me, but you know how things were kind of done, and that might help him. At least he might vary off of that, but it'll give him a starting point if he has some. I'm not even sure where to go with this, or how do we used to do this?
Yeah.
So.
Historically speaking.
Huh?
Historically speaking.
Yes, historically speaking.
John, can you give them a little feedback on the girls' basketball?
Girls basketball, so we met with the girls today. We had 8 girls show up for our meeting. It wasn't practice, running up and down the court, conditioning, but it's a positive sign, you know. We didn't expect 8 girls to be there. So 6 of the 8, we feel pretty comfortable that they're gonna play. You know, they're gonna be there every day and be committed. And, you know, my concern is I do not want us to lose the opportunity to co-op if we're not gonna have enough, because the girls are gonna quit practice the first week when they start conditioning and things like that. So that's why we want them, you know, so we have an open period where we can do some things starting in September. Well, we're fortunate, our softball coach is our basketball coach as well, so I know she's not gonna step on the other one's toes because it's her. So she can do some things with our girls' basketball to see if these girls are committed. You know, I look at co-oping as a last resort. Our girls deserve the opportunity to play, and I do not want to see them go without a basketball season. You know, I know some boards don't like co-oping and some are open.
I think I'm speaking for the board, I don't mean to be, but I kind of am. I think we're behind that idea if we need to. We talked about a little bit last meeting, and I do believe that we could.
But we also know that's the last
We also
resort.
know that we want that, like you just said, we want that to be the last thing that we would have to do. And have to doesn't sound good, but You know what I'm saying.
And I did talk to Dixon's AD today,
Okay.
and he is on board. You know, I told him where our numbers were at, and I was very upfront and honest. That's one thing you'll learn about me real quick. I'm an honest, upfront guy. Don't ask me a question if you don't want my answer, because I'll give you my answer even if it's wrong. So,
Is there soup on board? Is there board on board?
they are.
You know?
They told him it's his call.
Okay.
If you think this is best for our girls, let's do it.
Okay.
So we talked and we thought, you know, a few open gyms apart in September will give us an idea. And then if we're leaning toward having to do it, we can combine with them and do some open gyms in October. The girls can get to know each other. I don't want to put our girls in an uncomfortable position. They'll at least get to meet the girls from Dixon, get a feel for it, you know. And he was very open and honest and very nice about it. And, you know, I want to make sure our girls are getting opportunities to play. They're not just going to practice every day and being punching bags for Dixon girls, and they get to play all the game minutes, and our girls sit and watch. And I was
You're covered.
very clear about that.
Right.
I want our girls to have the same opportunity as theirs.
I say both schools are both adamant about that.
Yep.
You know, they both have feelings about that.
Yep.
Coaches is where you'll have to spend some time on how you're gonna split the coaching duties, but that can be worked out.
Let's just hope we don't get to that point. I
All that-
think you're playing with
Can they-
having some more open gyms, seeing who shows up. You got Coach Donnelly, she's working with the softball girls. With you, you might pull another one out of the locker somewhere that, you know, that you didn't expect might show up or.
Yep.
We really challenged those girls. Say, our ultimate goal is you get to play. We prefer it be our uniforms, our gym, our kids, our, you know, Newburg on the front, okay? That's our ultimate goal. But we want you to be able to play. And look, our numbers aren't very high. And we don't want to get to the point where it's too late to go back and do something because you guys, you know, cut out late. Your friends, your teammates are depending on you to make this happen. And so we've got to have a level of commitment. So we're trying to build in that accountability to each other right there, that they need each other. And so hopefully, but I think it was like 6 pretty strong, 7 might have been kind of strong, but that 7th and 8th was kind of been, it's looking like 7 or 8 is a very strong possibility. That's very good.
I don't think, Dusty, how many we had last year? 8, maybe? I mean, we've all, for the last couple, we've had some years where we've just barely.
Pretty thin.
Pretty been skinny. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and I do want to add to, side note from that, we did invite Booster Club members to our office last week to visit, because we want to make sure we form a really good relationship and partnership with the Booster Club. And, you know, from that meeting, they scheduled a meeting tonight, so we were able to be a part of that meeting for 30 minutes.
They had a pretty good group out there.
Yeah, and so, that's important to us, for both Coach Simley and me, that we have that good relationship, that good partnership. And so I know that they want to see it thriving more than what it is in active membership. And so we want to try to help them where we can with that too. So I think it's going to be a lot of ongoing conversations as we try to help that, because we all want the same thing, and our kids win when we're working together.
And I think you guys know, I mean, your Booster Club can be your best friend and do great things for you, or they can be your worst enemy. And I mean, small communities especially, I've seen it both ways, and our goal is for them to be our best friend and help us where we need help. So that's our goal, and that's kind of why we stepped in early and wanted them to get to know us a little bit. Just so they know we feel like they're an important part of our athletic program. You know, they can do things to help our kids. And we're in the kid business.
Right.
Everything we can
Good
do
or
to help our
bad,
kids.
Mr. Simley, you're basically starting here, and you're rebuilding the whole program. So, you know, and I think you know that, and that looks like that's the method you're taking. Just know you're basically going to start a lot of the athletic deal from the ground back up.
Well, that's why first here on the bottom I put updates. You know, I know I've updated a lot of things the last couple of weeks, and you know, I need to get to know people, what's important to the Newburg community, you know, what traditions Do I need to leave alone? What, so I'm learning people. You know, like I said, I was at the same school 25 years, and we had to change some tradition. I mean, times have changed, kids have changed. We're in a different world, I know that. Believe me, I know it. So I've tried to do my best to talk to people, talk to our teachers that went to school here, were part of the athletic program here, and had success here. Why? What's wrong now? What needs to happen? And I've got a lot of different opinions. And I'm talking about from duties to concessions to, I've got a lot of people telling me a lot of different things. And that's fine. That's fine. And plus for me, it's having Doug that's also been athletic director. You know, when I get all these ideas, we sit down and talk about them, and I try to figure out what's gonna work here. You know, I want everything run smoothly and correctly. I don't want us to get to the concession stand, we have nobody working, we have no food in there. That's my worst nightmare, I'll just be honest. Our community sees that before they see anything else. But I also want you guys to know it's a challenge. You know, I've had a bunch of different ideas, and I haven't had many people step up to the plate to help. You know, so I'll just tell you this fall, our baseball team's gonna run the baseball games, our softball team's gonna run the softball games, for the simple fact that they need funds, and that's where they can get their funds. Middle school basketball is a little different just because they play their games the same nights, so the coaches are trying to coach. I don't want them having to worry about who's in the concession stand, so our high school cheerleading sponsor, our high school cheer is gonna run the concessions at the middle school basketball this fall. And then after fall, I'll reevaluate it, and we'll open them back up for winter. I mean, that's the best way I know to do it, and I wanna see, you know, our baseball team's running it. Let's see if they can handle it. Because if they can't, somebody's gonna step in, being me, and get it done right. You know, but I wanna give them the opportunity, and they know I will help them any way I can. But I have my hand in a lot of fires. You know, during ball games, me being in the concession stand is not where I need to be.
Right.
No.
So they know that, and I understand that.
But you've always got Miss Kingsley, she's always available.
Nice, and Tony likes to volunteer, I heard.
He does a lot.
Well, I can already tell you, Tony's on the schedule for every home game.
There he
So
is.
he will be here.
There he is.
So,
Any questions, Mr. Sibley?
and then
Your learning center stuff, Mr.
Learning
Simley?
Center. Like I said, I was all school director for the past 3 years. I'm kind of running the Learning Center like I did the alt school. You know, at the alt school, I had my own teachers, so it's a little different here. But I think kids already know it's not gonna be a fun time to go down to the Learning Center and be an ISS. I think there's already that talk in the halls. You don't wanna go in there for ISS with Mr. Simmons. I mean, ISS is a punishment. That's not what our kids, that's not a goal, is for our kids to spend a day in ISS.
No.
So if I can keep them from coming to ISS, I think I'm doing my job. While I'm in ISS, the kids will get their work done, or they will not get to leave. You know, me and Mr. Dunn's had several talks. When a kid has ISS, he don't do his work and do what he's supposed to, he might get another punishment, but he's still coming back to ISS. You know, they're in ISS to get their work completed and do it the right way and learn how to behave. So that's where we're at on ISS. Admin, that's our program we use for our credit recovery.
You've got them set up in there.
All of our kids are set up. All of our kids that have other classes, that's not credit recovery. So credit recovery is basically kids that have failed classes that are retaking them through this computer program. And they stay in there with me. And it's similar to ISS. They're not in there because they made great grades and did what they were supposed to do. They're in there because they didn't do their work and failed. So when they're in there, they're not horsing around, they're not eating and drinking soda pop, and that's not what they're in there for. They're in there to do the work. Now, we also have students that are taking courses that we don't offer. So they can come in here, especially when my place is full for ISS and credit recovery. Because this is a better learning environment for them. You know, they're working on Algebra 2, Spanish, geometry. They're not in there because they failed anything. They're in there because we don't have teachers to teach it. So there's a big difference. And I've made it clear to those kids, you will be treated a little different than the kids that are in credit recovery or ISS. And this is where I want you to be when I have kids in there serving punishment. And, you know, me and Mr. Dunn and Ms. King, we've talked about it, and I hope that's the expectation for the Learning Center. I'm gonna tell you, I've spent a lot of hours preparing things for in there as well as the AD stuff. I don't want you to think I'm sitting in there and doing athletic director stuff all day. I wish that was the case sometimes, because I could use the, you know, like today I ran into something and I spent a lot of hours on an athletic director stuff, but I didn't have no choice. So there will be times that I have to do athletic director stuff because he don't have time to do it. Nobody else has time, that's my job too. But that's not what's going on in that room. I don't want people to think Coach Simley's in there, he's a 7-hour-a-day athletic director. Like I said, I wish that was the case sometimes, but I know it's not.
I might ask a question. Your admin kids are coming in an hour here and an hour there.
Correct.
They don't stay with you.
No. I
Right,
have no
correct.
ad minimum kids more than 1 hour a day.
Okay.
No kid sits in that room more than an hour a day.
And they're
Until
going
we-
on to their own schedule after
Yes.
that.
Yes.
It's just,
And when I first started, I'm not sure that was the way it was set up, and me and Mr. Dunn, you know, we both, with my experience and his, it's not a good environment for kids to sit in there all day.
I agree. They need to
Because, you know, they struggle sitting in one class an hour doing their work. Well, we're taking our most troubled kids, telling them to sit in there for 3 or 4 hours and do their work. That's not reality.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's kind of the way we've approached that, and I hope I haven't said anything that is a surprise or,
I believe so.
My ears.
Pretty tickled, everything I've heard.
We're like.
We're all pretty happy about that.
Hey, just keep talking, we're really enjoying this.
well, I'm only 2 weeks in, so next month, I mean,
Yeah.
I might look a little, but things have been great so far. Like I said, with the admin team here, I've got lots of people to reach out to, and we've got a lot of experience, and if it wasn't for that, like I said, I wouldn't have taken the job, but I know I've got a good group to work with, and I've heard good things about the board even, most.
Well, I wouldn't believe all that, but
I wouldn't mind if it's over.
A month or two, won't you?
Concession stand, if you ever need volunteers, there is a great community here that step up anytime they're needed, so if there's ever
Like I said, I've heard a
help
lot
needed, just don't hesitate to reach
a
out.
lot of different things on concession stand. That's been one of the
Yeah, it's a hot
hottest
topic.
topics.
It's a hot topic.
Been a
Has been
contentious
for-
subject for a while.
You can get some,
One of the things we talked to Mr. Cole about tonight was, if you're trying to grow active membership, you have to go to people directly. And my experience has been, almost every single time I go to somebody directly, I get a yes. And so, I do think there's gonna be maybe some new ways of trying to do
Recruit.
some things. So optimistic there,
Good.
optimistic.
well, I think just meeting with them is a step in the right direction that probably hadn't been done. That I don't mind, maybe speaking out of turn, but I mean, I think those are the steps you gotta start. That's how you start to solve the problem, is sitting down with a notepad, what are we gonna do here, what are we gonna do there, you know, I mean, it's not rocket science, but if you're not talking about it, it's not gonna fix itself.
And the administration, this side of the administration, and previous year.
Well, and I also feel it's a big advantage,
face to face is always better.
and I don't know a lot of people, so.
Josh knows everybody, so you just go to him, he'll tell you.
If I don't know them, I'll tell you, I don't know who that is.
But Mr. Bertrand, that's good to
Any,
know too,
any
so I
other
appreciate you
questions
sharing
for
that.
Mr. Simley?
No,
Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you.
thank you for your work so far.
Glad you stepped in.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you here. Ms. Kingston?
All right.
You know, you may not want to follow him.
I
because
know,
you're-
I did not put that in the right
It's gonna
order.
be like the balloon that
Oh
got
my gosh,
popped.
this is gonna be so we got the ASBR done. Baseline grant was submitted.
Oh my God, if I don't wanna see that report again for a whole nother year.
It really was worth mentioning. It was a big deal.
It's done, that's all that
It's done, that's right. And Jeannie also was accepted into MOASBO in their school business certification program, which she's gonna begin in September. I think that'll be very helpful also. And she's just getting ready to finish her third meeting in a 3-part series of SUI, our accounting software that she loves. Right? SUI.
I don't have as bad of a love-hate relationship as I did when I started.
Look at that, she's starting to grow an appreciation for it. Little training, and we brought her into the education world. I've been, started attending some MASSA meetings, some finance ones coming up. And so that's always good for me. And then I have a new mentor this year that has a wealth of knowledge, was a superintendent in Wright City, and we met the other day. And as I just talked about some of my needs, he immediately started reaching out to people and started connecting. So that's been really helpful to me too. And then Stiefel is, of course, our bond company, and I have a meeting with that rep later this month. We're gonna get together and just talk about where we are with that, possibilities for the future and so forth. I know that the principals mentioned this, but the new staff orientation we held on the 7th, you know, we just tried to cover a lot of things to onboard them well, so that when they came in with the staff the next week, they would have some kind of experience under their belt, knew what we were talking about. We talked about technology, WebLink, which is our requisition and leave system, Infinite Campus, just getting a little bit of acclimation to that, procedures that we want in place for transportation and maintenance requests, you know, how you go about professional development. We talked a lot about leave time and banking your days and just how, you know, we want to cut down on our staff absenteeism. And so we made sure to talk to everybody about that and how it's such a generous gift really for this board to give 13 days to a 4-day school week. And it's because we care about the staff. And we want to make sure if they need those days, right? And as new staff come on and they don't have a big bank of days, wow, what a gift that is. And we try to express that to them. And also how quickly you can build that up to 63 and start giving yourself a little bonus in June since we pay out above 63. And that was news to some people, and the new teachers were like, oh. And so we're hoping that also just empowering them a little bit with information that I think, you know, maybe we were missing that in the past. And so we just had a lot of conversation. We went to Dickey's and had lunch, and that was a great lunch. And our mentors joined us as well. And then they worked, as you all mentioned, with the principals in the afternoon and had some time in the building to start thinking about programs there. Professional Development Committee is revising the PDC handbook. We spent really a very productive meeting with them. Mr. Dunn and Mrs. Wright and I sat down with the 3 that volunteered for that position and really talked about how we wanted this to go and what this could look like. And I am excited about how we're going to work together to make those things happen. I think a lot of good is going to come out of that. And so we want to get that handbook in place pretty quickly so we can roll it out to staff, what our procedures are for requesting to go to conferences and things like that. So I know you all will see more from me in the Friday updates coming up pretty soon here. The full staff, of course, returned then last week, and we did trainings. We worked in teams, in classrooms, developing lesson plans. We were sending out a survey, which I believe both principals sent out today, just to get some feedback with how did it work for you, what went well, and what needs do you have right now, so we can kind of use that information to guide our PD moving forward. But I think, you know, the staff appreciated the time that we gave them last week because they really needed it with some of our new staff and lots of opportunities to meet, work together, prepare for the kids returning, and it was a busy week. I said there was a moment in the week that I stopped and just paused, and there were just people moving everywhere, and everybody's just doing things, and it was such a positive and fun environment, and I thought, this feels really good. It feels really good. People really took advantage of that time that they had. And talking about educational instructional programs and improving performance, we have a literacy leadership team that's been in place for a few years. It's changed who those people are, but that has been in place for a few years with the CLDS. a grant that they had signed up for quite a while back. And so this is the last year with them. So we met with those folks through Zoom the other day. We had some conversation in our admin meeting on what we would like to, how we'd like to utilize those experts in our district and moving forward for this year. And then Mr. Hildebrand, Mrs. Mercer, Mrs. Ford, and Mrs. Hildebrand really are a very cohesive team, and they're really working together to maybe drive some of that for our district. So I'm excited about what they can do as teacher leaders. Mr. Dunn and Mrs. Wright have been working with the staff to develop the calendar for evaluate assessments. As you all know, those help us identify gaps in standards that we need to know to make sure our kids are ready for MAP tests and EOCs. And so they're working on some plans for that. Then, of course, they already mentioned NEE to you. Both are ready to go with observations. I think Mr. Dunn's already started a couple.
Wasn't my intent, I walked into a class, was doing a good thing, and like, this needs to get documented.
He said, wow, I wasn't planning to start today, but I did, because this was great, and I was starting my conversations. So they're getting that up and running, facilities and grounds and buses and so forth. The fence on the playground was installed, and it was covered by insurance. I want to say that loudly, since I was aloof last month on that. We held Alice training last week too, and that's just a very important training for us to be ready for active shooter, intruder type ideas. Anybody who wasn't able to attend that meeting, including the OPA staff, met with Deputy Bowles on Friday and went through that. So we got everybody trained and had some very good conversations and some good thoughts moving forward. And actually, when the admin team met this week, we have already scheduled a new safety meeting and really starting to get our minds around more that we could be doing to make sure that we are truly a very safe campus. So that started some good conversations. Of course, Deputy Bowles, that we're very lucky to have here, provided by the Phelps County Sheriff's Department. We're so appreciative to them. He is now an official SRO, so he is our student resource officer, and he's the one who led that training. We did have some vandalism this summer up on the ball field. The concession stand was damaged with the door and the window. The window has been replaced. The door is being repaired this week. And I know you all were aware that the steps had rotted out, I think because of the way the water had run off of that maybe. That is being replaced this week as well. So it should be good to go by the time ball games get started. And Carl has a piece of guttering that was from a leftover from the ag building that he's held on to. As soon as those steps get done, he wants to add that piece to the top and keep that from happening again. So that is in the works.
Make sure he has a second person there that way.
I know, I told you, no ladders, no lawnmowers.
Accident way.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
On this, the suspect is a student here.
Yes, and they have been charged, and with the cost of the replacement, it will be a felony.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty serious stuff. So, having cameras in place and people aware and paying attention really helps to also keep this school safe. When it seems to be a little off the beaten path, I think more is known of what's going on here than people realize. So I was grateful for the eyes and ears on that one. The Pepsi coolers, there's several around, they needed some attention, and so they've all been, Carl called them in, and we've got new compressor and new seals and all kinds of things. Although there was one in the concession stand that wasn't even working, so they brought a brand new one that they'll have up there ready for the concession stand as well. Of course, that's no cost to us, that's just our partnership with Pepsi. And then, HFL has got, they are, Dave Nuss and the technology group. I can't speak enough about him and the amount of hours. It's like he's full-time staff here. He's here every day working so much, and I know he's got to start limiting his time here because he has other jobs, but wow, has he done so much work. I couldn't even, if I started to list this, we'd be here all night, the amount of work that man has done, and his partner, Philip. But they also met with us last week, I think it was now, just talking about coverage for the inside cameras. Do we have blind spots? Are there things that we need to do? They just kind of think of everything, and I'm just really appreciative to them. And so we made some suggestions there, and they were adjusting those so we make sure we have really good coverage inside the building with our cameras. So tech updates going on daily is almost an understatement. It's just nonstop. So, and then cultivating a healthy, safe, warm climate. We held a pool party in July. We had a lot of staff and their families that attended that, and our hope is to have several social events this year outside of school that we can just continue building a team, bring in some families, because we do have a lot of young families and opportunities for us to just get together. The staff are working on, they brought up several things too, just things that they want to do. You know, the principals have talked about maybe some monthly carry-ins, with the new workroom upstairs in the 2-story. The positive pack, they want to get going again and maybe make it more district-wide. So a lot of things going on to just really help us try to build a strong, cohesive team. Offices are working together, as you know, to provide snacks and drinks. They do that. You see those on the bills. But that's something that this district really does like and really embraces a lot. And matter of fact, there's been times that I've been in my office, there's a couple of our lower elementary teachers that I know when they walk in the door, they're not there to say hi to me. It's, do you have any chocolate? Is there any candy in here? Nobody has any candy. And I'm like, come on back, we've got something back here. But it is a good opportunity for us to be
Absolutely.
So, Jeannie, she didn't have enough hats, so we gave her another one. And so she's taken on actually the wellness committee coordinator. And really, she works with our consortium anyway, so she gets most of the emails. And so she took that on and she enjoys that type of, I think, involvement with the staff anyway. So she's got the wellness committee getting going, and I think sent out first email today. Yep, our consortium does a lot of great activities with wellness, and so she'll bring that to the staff, get them excited about it, and then also she's wanting to bring in just some Newburg wellness type activities. I just want to mention that the buildings look wonderful, the newly waxed floors. We got some new tables that really help spruce things up. Facilities just looking really well, really good, but really the teachers have brought so much to the district. Their rooms look fantastic. I can't believe, it's like we have Pinterest teachers all over this place. They're beautiful classrooms for kids to learn in. The lighting all the way to the alternative seating and the chairs and the way they have it set up. This looks really great. It's really great, and I think the kids feel it too, because it's been an exceptionally positive first 3 days for our kids. And I think it's been I couldn't ask for more, honestly, at this point. And then we also got staff shirts, and I meant to bring you all one. We got new little bracelets too for this year, and so, and we're wearing them tomorrow, except for Coach Pursuit, who missed the message and wore his on Tuesday. And I said, hey man, that was not supposed to be today. And he goes, when did we decide this? I missed it. But, so staff are gonna wear their shirts tomorrow. I do want to mention enrollment. I didn't put it in here because I didn't have it at the moment, but I wanted to share that with you because that's always, been something that's been concerning to me. 335 as of today is our enrollment. In May, our enrollment at the last day of school, or right at the end of school, was 325. So we actually are up 10 from the end of last year. Now, I wanted to know, how does that compare to the beginning of last year, right? Apples to apples there. 349 was our September 1 enrollment last year. And so right now we're at 335. Now, so, we were concerned last year, but at least we're not losing a ton right now from last year to this year. Prior year, so we go back to 2022, September 1, that was the 406. So when we went from the 406 down to the 349 and we went, whoa, that was the big jump last year. But we seem to be maintaining right now pretty well.
We still have enough left to use the 406.
Right. But I also am pleased to hear we have several kids that, I don't know if several is the right word, coming back from homeschooling.
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 that are.
In your building? Did you have a couple come? I don't know if I asked you.
You figured?
I knew elementary did.
I've got to double check on that.
Okay. So, anyway, I think we'll continue to monitor that, pay attention to that, see what we can do with that. We also have a few students that we believe are Newburg residents attending elsewhere. So Shannon and I have a meeting scheduled for next week to get our heads around making sure that all of our students are actually here. So, yeah. Huh?
I said my kid is
Yeah.
one of those.
So any questions or anything I can follow up on? Thank you. Did I do okay? They didn't fall asleep. I was way more excited to listen to that place.
Your voice was good.
Was my voice? I felt like it had to be. He was so strong. I had to be strong too.
Any questions? No. Mrs. Kinkley? Okay. Again, I hope the first 3 days have been good.
Really good.
That's always positive to have positive days. Okay, we're ready.
Okay,
Ms. Opa?
all right.
That's not your day.
Hello, I am Rachel Hedrick with OPA, if you don't know who I am. It's good to be here. It's great to be here at the beginning of the year. to start things off. I feel like we're starting this year a little better than we started last year, so that's exciting. I wanted to share with you all some information from over the summer, since I didn't give you some summer school numbers. We served over 3,000 breakfasts, over 3,500 lunches, 351 staff meals, and this year was the first time we were able to send home weekend meals over summer school. So we sent home you really big, heavy bags, and I felt so bad when I saw the students trying to carry them, but we sent home 1,438 weekend meals over the summer school program. And that was milks for 4 meals, and it was 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches for every student that wanted. And we rarely had anything left on our cart at the end of those days. So that was very good, and we definitely want to do that again. Another thing that we're beginning on Tuesday of next week is our CACFP, which is the Child and Adult Food Care Program, which is our after-school meals. So that will resume. We were waiting on more concrete numbers and just having everyone kind of getting settled that first week. So we do hope to start that, and we've always had a really good response with that program. Last year, toward the end of the school year, we had done a bit of we did a survey with our students, which we do throughout the year with our NAC meetings. But OPA actually created a survey in several districts. And it was the districts that were trying out our new kid-friendly menus. Newburg was one of them. And so we started offering every day a daily slice, which was a handmade pizza for high school and a different one each day. And it was very popular, so we are continuing that this year, and we're going to do it for 6th through 12th this time. We've also, on one of our options, we're calling it a combo craving or cravings combo. It depends on who you ask, but it comes in a basket, and that is always served with fries, which is another way to provide. It's a vegetable, and they recreated some fries that are lower sodium so that we're able to actually stay within those nutrition guidelines for our students. So that's good news. Those are new things that are happening with our menus. And I'm also considering, with the board's approval, I know I hadn't spoken to Mrs. Kingsley about this, so I apologize. But we have a cold bar that right now sits, and that's where the students get their sporks from for their meal. Pre-COVID, we used it as a fruit and vegetable bar. Cold fruit and cold veg, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, and then fruits. And in the middle was actually tossed salad, and so they could actually have salad as often as they wanted without having to go to the salad bar to get salad. Because we don't serve salad every day, it's not part of our menu, but doing this would allow that. So it's something that I'll speak with you more about, but it's a way for the students to serve themselves their fruit and veg. And those ladies that are on the line could focus on getting the hot meals prepared and hot and serve it right then, and then the student can take their tray and then get their cold items as well. So that's another positive thing that I'm hoping to get started very soon. Again, just really excited for this year. We have the same staff coming back as we had last year, which is really good. It's really nice when people come back to you. So that's great. We are also continuing with our classics, with the OPA menu. It's not all hot dogs and pizza. We will continue with our OPA classics, like on Wednesdays is chicken patty day with the mashed potatoes gravy. It's one of our classics, and it's definitely a favorite, so we're not going to take that away. But sometimes we might make it a chicken patty sandwich because the students really like it on a bun. I've seen them take their roll and make it a bun, and I'm like, okay, all right, I see that. So we're going to start that. So we're very excited. We had a really successful summer program, sending those weekend meals home, and we hope to do that again this year, and we're going to expand it to, not just pre-K through 8, but pre-K through 12. And so whomever wants a meal is eligible for that. So we're excited. We're ready.
Appreciate the update. Good.
Yes.
Always good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Always.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get caught, we don't, we hear all of it. other things, so it's good to
Yes.
hear the positive,
Yes.
what you're trying and all.
Thank you. It's good to have some positive news.
All I heard was how good the chicken nachos were Tuesday.
Oh, it's a favorite, I'm telling you. It's,
Forgot to
it's,
go get them, and I was really mad about it. That night, I went, oh, we had chicken.
We'll have them
nachos.
soon, I
forgot.
promise.
I've only had a pack of lunch for one day this week so
Ah,
far, which is.
that's great. Well, and our salad bar is pretty famous, I have to tell you. It's really good. It is good, yeah, so we're happy about that. And if you're okay, I apologize to scoot out, but I have a 45-minute drive. and
You're fine,
I would love
please,
to be able
please
to.
go, you're good, thank you.
Well, thank you
Thank
all.
you for the update.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thanks for coming.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Move on to our facilities, updates there at all?
I thought, might toss out real quick the buses, just things looking good there. That one of the bus number 1 has been down for a while, and it was a recalibrating the computer is what they were still waiting on for that. Guy came today.
Oh, my goodness.
Guy came today, and so I think they'll be getting that back in the fleet pretty soon here. And then, there were just a couple of buses with some interior light things, but otherwise, like I said, things looking pretty good.
What's going on with the bus that's sitting outside up there?
That's bus number 1,
That's
that's
the
it. That was it. At one point, it was gonna be towing the bus all the way to St. Louis, because he couldn't find anybody to come and do this.
I wasn't
Just
sure
kinda
if we were
technical.
using that for a parks bus or what was going on there, so.
No, that's that one. So that guy was here today, and so hopefully that one's getting going pretty quick here. It was just like I said, recalibrating this computer.
Is that bus at an age when you look at maybe pawning it off somewhere else? Does it have a bunch of
I
other
don't
issues?
think so.
No?
I don't think so, and
Okay.
actually it's set for quite a while, so it's probably saved some miles. But I don't think it's ready for that.
Okey-dokey.
Radios, just want to update, we have the new handhelds in the buildings, but the base stations, we're still waiting on when they came, didn't have the proper hole in the roof. You know, they sometimes can just figure that out, so that's happening now, and then they will come back and install those new base stations. And then I mentioned the concession stand already, probably that's probably where we are right now, unless you have any questions or thoughts on.
Speaking of,
Yes.
have you got hold of Williams at all?
I have called and called and called, and I also am very frustrated, as Jeannie well knows, because I can't get feedback from Grant either. I have talked, I have sent emails, I have called, I have talked, I've sent emails. We even got billed for a letter they sent to Williams, and I've yet to see the letter. Road trip. Maybe, we might be there. I'm
Time to
frustration.
time to talk to Mayor, I think. See
Okay.
if they can help us.
Okay, I can do that. I really was I'm at a loss. I can't get paid out Grant. Where now?
And that's-
Okay.
Let me get you the name of who to talk to there.
Perfect,
So we can get some movement on that.
absolutely. Now, Carl did talk to me today a little bit about, that we had a couple of small leaks. Last year one, I guess both of them really last year. And he said, up on the roof, I guess a few years ago, the white coating was put onto several sections of the roof. There's no leaking there. And wondering about getting some bids for doing that on the other sections where we did have some leaks. So he was gonna reach out to the roofing company and see about getting that and see what that looks
Depends on
like.
which section, most of the facilities under warranty.
Not every part we
That-
had,
The good, better, best warranty.
we did.
Yes,
We did this last section on our own. It was the only section that wasn't under warranty that I understood. So everything else should be under the 10-year warranty.
we just don't have
That
a.
section that was supposed to be that.
That was
wound
supposed to
up
be
not-
that wasn't, right.
Yeah, but everything else is under.
Yes, it is. What my worry was, if we don't make some headway with Williams, I don't want leaks happening, so at least getting a quote would tell us what maybe we need to do to
If we
fix.
have to fix it, they get fixed.
That's where I'm at. That was where I'm
It's,
at.
We can't really get worse.
I know.
Where's this
Quotes
leaking
are
out
good.
of?
Salem.
Yeah, yes, I'm so, yeah, it's just been a
So, I
frustration.
mean, if they're not gonna warranty, we need to have something drawn up to.
That's where I was at with Grant at Mickus. Something's missing here, I'm missing it. Call them, email, just talk to Grant on the phone. I can't even get the answer to, did you send the letter to them? And then Jeannie got a bill that they didn't send the letter, and I said, can we just get a copy of the letter? I wanna know where we are with this, so, like I said, we're driving over there.
good email, I mean, got good paper
Yes,
trail. and
yes,
all
I've checked
communication.
everything, oh, yes, yes. With all of the information detailed, I've talked to him on the phone and typed out, so in case we miss this, we have it in writing to do. So I'm not sure, but Mayor, if we need to go that direction,
Just a good round, we pay.
I can grab and say
Okay.
it, man. You can't.
Any other
Persuade
questions?
them.
Any other facility question, doors all
Work.
working?
yeah, actually,
Won't be the
Dave
first time I've had to do that in
extended
my
himself
life.
to do some of the door work as well. And so it was a big kind of a mess with this door
They
here.
will.
It's fixed. Yes, I think, and now even the annex doors are working. Everything's on the right system for when they unlock and lock. All is working well.
You know,
Yeah.
I need that that wants to come back, take care of it.
Okay. We'll move on to our action items. Under A is fiscal league gate prices. It's really not for our approval, it's just so that we, it's information, just for discussions there for that piece of information. Appears that fiscal league as a whole went to $4 and $2,
Right.
right?
Yes,
Read
that's
that right?
correct. That's correct.
So they will do adults $4, students $2 on the fiscal league superintendent's net.
That's correct. At our beginning year meeting. And
That's-
under recommendations from athletic directors, principals, and so forth, that was part of our big, huge start of the year meeting.
That's what they're asking everybody to match for their own individual school, so that fiscal league stays consistent,
Consistent.
right?
Yep, that's it, exactly.
So we'll move on to B, which is approve our gate prices, which are currently
2 and 1.
2 and 1.
We dropped them down last year in that board meeting from 3 and 2, I believe, to 2 and 1. But if Frisco League games are gonna be 4 and 2, it might be a little confusing for patrons and so forth with the different pricing depending on the game. So to me, it made some sense to just be uniform, but that's our gate prices. So, of course, a lot of people also get in free. There's an awful lot. Another change that the Frisco League did was 60 and over instead of 65 and over.
I read that
You get it, they were thinking of you. I think they were thinking of you.
now. Probably what it was.
So they dropped it, they
Probably
dropped
against
it
numbers.
to 60.
That's probably what it
Great.
was.
That's probably against numbers.
I bet he was. So they, we know there's a lot of people that, like I say, do get it free, so.
And are we still looking at the passes, like the activity passes?
That will be a booster question, because they did that last year, so we should probably add that to our conversation.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, I would say that's what-
I wanna say, and I don't mean it this way, that's not a booster thing, that, we set the prices for our athletic things. The boosters want, if we wanna give our boosters free passes, that's fine. If we want to sell passes, that's fine. But for me, the school gets that money.
Yes.
Because it's our athletic event, we're putting that on. That's just my opinion of that. But I have no problem as a booster member giving them a free pass to everything we do. If you belong to the booster, give you a pass. You can get in every game you want to. But if you're gonna sell them, that's for the school to sell. Just my opinion.
I've never known the boosters to sell passes. I've known them to give you the pass if you belong to the booster club.
And maybe
They
there's
sold
the
them last year,
confusion.
though. That's where I came in. They sold them last
There's
year.
maybe the confusion, Tony.
That's what happened when I started last year, is they were selling them, and the thing was, they're selling
That's
them.
why
but
you
we-
guys are meeting.
Well,
That's
with the
right.
boosters to clear some of that up, because it's been kind of a mess.
So I did bring that up in our
Okay.
meeting last week. The way I understood it was, when you joined Booster Club, you got the pass.
Which makes sense.
And one of the things I talked to him, and I didn't really feel like I was in a position to, at that, with the craziness
Listen.
of the start of the school year, to say, hey, we're gonna take this over, and I don't have a system in place yet to do that, you know?
Right.
But what we talked about, one of the things I mentioned is, we pay our workers and our officials and so much out of gate, and that's gate money we're not getting. And so I opened the door for the conversation, and they got the rationale.
Sure.
But there was no decisions or anything made for that meeting, but we began that conversation.
Again, it's just gonna come down to open face-to-face conversations to
Yeah.
figure that out. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not, It'd be good.
But,
Was there a trolley to get the booster club?
It'd be good.
yeah, and so I think it was, was it like $25 something join, but then you got a season pass if you join Booster Club.
Maybe,
think
Mr.
it was something
Emily,
like
since
that.
you need concessionaires, maybe you could give them free passes to work, since they come work and sit and make hot dogs for you. See? That'd be money well better spent, probably.
I might even pay them instead of giving them pass.
I see all of this just a work in progress as we
Sure.
carry on our conversations.
Anyway, back to the
Issue at hand.
issue at hand, 4 and 2. Everybody good with those prices?
You gotta stay consistent with everybody else.
I agree with that.
I don't like raising it at all.
I don't like raising
No,
it because
I don't
people are
either.
gonna gripe about it, but.
Well,
But we will have hot dogs and hamburgers for sale this year too,
But
so.
if they,
But,
that's where we
hey,
can
but do
encourage
those
them
make
to
money?
buy the pass.
No, that's what I was
because
told.
The pass is gonna,
They're gonna make money this
if
year
they
because
make
he's donating.
3 or 4 games, pay for the pass.
Right.
They still didn't do it.
motion to raise our prices from, to 4, and 4 for adults, 2 for students.
We all know we're gonna get a bus cheer over this one,
We're all like,
over $2.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll bite the bullet.
Motion by Mrs.
You are from Raleigh, so that's
Motion by
okay.
Mrs. Wells. Second.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Shear.
Look at us. Two to
It's
us.
Well, unfortunately, it's cost more
Still
to
comes down to
visit
vote,
than it
you
used
can still vote against it
Yeah.
if you want to. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Bad thing.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4 to 2. I counted that. Motion carries 4 to 2. Mr. Brookshire, that's Dusty, can't get him to come on. Dusty is,
I got it.
yep. Substitute list, saw your list, I think there's some updates from when it first came out, is the right one in there now?
Yes, it is.
What was current in there? Shoe shank, there it is. Come on, couldn't come up with that, Dusty, it was 7 months old or something. You know how your brain just goes flat? On that
You're not
flat.
late to anybody on this, are you?
Fantastic.
Anybody related to anybody on that list?
Yeah, you are.
Well, she's already been approved, but
Okay.
you're talking about Lena?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the one with the highlighter.
I would say just the bottom, because those were from last year. So it's just your Dan, down your.
Well,
It's just the ones with the highlighters, I think, is it highlighted?
No, in the approved column, the ones that don't have a Y.
Okay.
Say, mine don't highlight.
No, I did not
See the
highlight
approved
that.
column with the Y?
Yeah, it's in
That
that
I see.
column.
Okay, so then the ones below that, the
Just
ones
the
that are
last
Yeah.
6.
Yes,
Make sure not.
you're right.
Let's keep it on.
Oh. That's it? That's correct. Is your computer not working?
You know, it's easier.
Is that, yeah, I know, I hear you. Me too sometimes, but you can't get on.
No, it says, I ain't smart enough to figure it out, so just.
Yours probably the second one, you had to type
You had to type in a code word.
The new Chrome.
It was on the back of the Captain Crunch box.
Yeah, sounds special, not mine.
Motion to approve the substitute list.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson.
in. Second.
Second, Mr.
There
Brookshire.
you go, thanks, man.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Bus routes, 2425, just see them in the packet. I think they're the same as they were last year.
That's correct.
Nothing changed there.
And he said still subject to kids,
Sure.
where they might be, there might be some subtle changes that do need to be made, but for the most part, these will be the same ones.
You're not gonna know that till a little bit later.
That's exactly right.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Brookshire, second, Mr. Shushank. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
September 19th.
19.
Yep. Looks like we have baseball, basketball, and softball that night. Oh, boy.
Our scheduled meeting would be September 19th, which is what we need to try to stick to. We moved a few of them, we try to stick, everybody good with sticking
Did
to
you say there
that.
was a basketball game that night?
There was.
Is it here,
Let me
home?
see. It says middle school basketball at Dixon.
At Dixon?
Yeah,
Okay.
baseball at
Well, I
Richland.
just make sure I not
Softball
have
at
my
Newburg.
name on the,
1, 2, 3.
on the list to work.
Better have been.
Yeah, you better be looking at that, yeah.
Got too many calendars to keep track.
Everybody good with the 19th? I will not be
It's also
able,
picture.
I will not be able to be here that evening, so you'll need to run.
I'm up, huh?
You're on, man.
Murphy's your turn.
You
Glad
can
to make it
even
a note,
sign
make sure
that.
he's here.
Yeah. I'll make sure I remind you.
I'll remind him. I'll go in the day of 14
Get out on
times.
you.
No, he's always good at that. Okay, 19th it is. As I looked through the executive session, I didn't see anything on there that we needed to really go into, so unless anybody has a reason to go, we didn't have one. So I'm good to go to motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson. Second, Mr. Shushan. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Wonderful.